treat you how I want to be treated. I ain't tripping on you. As I turn 35, I actually
And we're here. And it's another Friday night. This is the Gauntlet. It's your boy Denzel Snipes, and to the right of me, well, it's to y'all's right. It's James Tatum up at the bottom, snacking on some good old MLK soul food in the DC area. Check them cats out. Is JJ Jenkins.
Oh,
Also
hey,
got
Kendall.
Dom, and then also our guy Kendall Whitley, who just came on the screen. Be sure you hit that like and subscribe button. Tune in to Sideline Sports Network. Also, James Tatum 12 on Facebook. We are on Facebook, YouTube, X, Shrimp TV. We're on a lot of platforms and everything, and we're building. We'll be at the Super Bowl this year, but this is a very crucial part of the season, and we are bringing you the latest and greatest from this past week in sports. Making Grizz, what's good with you, baby? Thanks for tuning in, as usual. So I'm going to pass it around and say what's up to the crew real quick. How you brothers doing tonight?
Excellent.
Feeling
Glad
good.
it's Friday.
Feeling good.
Any of y'all got on that gas already, or is that after the show?
I got a Corona and a lime.
Look at this
I
motherfucker
see you've been
drinking
on Coronas the last couple of days, man.
This motherfucker drinking on a regular basis. Who do you think
He's
you are?
growing up.
There's the first time
Yeah,
for
he's still
everything.
drinking Corona. He ain't that grown.
Yeah, right.
I like the flavor. I like the combination.
I like Corona for a long time, and if you handed me a Corona, I would say thank you very much, and I would enjoy it.
James,
I like Modelo better.
don't let anybody influence you on what you drink, because they always try to do. The drinkers
No.
always try to get you onto what they want. Boy, you are different.
Oh,
Yeah,
he's
why
trying
you,
to,
why
he's
you,
trying to
gate,
put
why
you
you
up on
gatekeeping
game.
the Corona?
If you
Every
like it, I
time.
love it.
But Kendall, what's
Every
going
time.
on with you, man? Hey, you muted, bro.
Kendall,
What's
what the
going
heck is
on,
going
guys?
on
What's
with your
going on with
There we
y'all?
go.
Kendall?
All
What the
right.
heck is going on with your connection?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you, brother.
Yeah, now.
Man, JJ, you
Right.
always eating up here, man. What's going on with you?
Look,
I've been on the last 3
Shots
shows.
fired.
Every show I'm up here, you be grubbing, man.
The
he's
boy
pregnant.
hungry.
Very much hungry right now. I'm not even gonna lie.
I feel that.
How y'all
So
doing?
hungry right
Feel
now.
good, and that's actually the side dish to the burger. But yeah, we'll go ahead and we'll keep it rolling
Yeah.
real quick with our our weekly gauntlet grinders from NFL Week 14, where whoever you feel was the dopest players of that week that grinded and kept their team in it. Now's your time to get it off your chest and speak on it. We'll start off with JT. James Tatum, who do you have for your gauntlet grinders of NFL Week 14?
Yeah, guys. I actually want to go to LSU on this one with Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. Here's Jamar scoring the game-winning touchdown against the Cowboys. Had 190-something yards in that game, 2 touchdowns. So Jamar is balling. He's looking to get the Triple Crown this season. And here's Jefferson. Just had the defender completely lost on this play against the Atlanta Falcons. Vikings went on to win 42-21. Great game from Justin, Jay Jettas. Always balling, showing he's one of the best receivers in the league. And when these guys were teammates at LSU with Joe Burrow slaying the rock, it was a serious problem for sure. So I'm going to give it to Jamar and Justin for this week.
All right, absolutely. And now let's take it on to he didn't put the food down for a second. Let's go ahead and get it to JJ. Mr. JJ, who do you have for your gauntlet grinders of week 14?
I'm afraid I don't have any because I went out Saturday night and didn't realize how much I was gone and didn't wake up until 5 the next day. So I didn't watch any games, so I have no clue of who, so that's just where I am.
He took the
Okay.
bye along with his team.
Yeah. All right, well, I guess JJ's
Okay,
on the bye.
essentially, right?
Yeah, I guess JJ's on the bye for this week. But let's get to Dom. Dom, who do you got for your gauntlet grinders for week 14?
AFC, I'll go Joe Burrow. 33-44, 369, 3 TDs, 1 pick. Poor Joe Burrow. To me, it's shades of Carson Palmer, just going out there week after week and playing his ass off and getting no help from the sieve that is Cincinnati Bengals' defense. But he's been balling all year. I mean, if you can give the MVP to a player on a team with a losing record, it'd be Joe Burrow. NFC, I'm going Tim Patrick. 6 catches, 47 yards, 2 TDs. Played a very huge role in that Lions win over Green Bay. Couldn't really get the run game going. Neither Demo nor Gibbs even got much past 50 yards. They only had 1 touchdown between them, and Tim Patrick is just the man. Super happy for that dude. We took a flyer on him. He hadn't played in like a year and a half, and he's definitely taken on that Josh Reynolds role, the third down guy. He's obviously a hell of a red zone target, and super happy to have him. And we don't win that game if he doesn't play. So yeah, that's my guy.
All right, and we're swinging over to K Dub. Kendall, who do you have for your gauntlet grinders for NFL Week 14? Hey, you muted, bro.
Okay, hey, it's mighty funny because we're sitting there looking at two. I got 2 grounds this week. Both of these teams played last week, but I'm going for Josh Allen. Josh Allen, my first grounder, because he had 6 touchdowns in total, 3 passing, and 3 of them was rushing. And that was a good game last week against the Rams. So John McGowan, and he put his team on his back. Now they did lose the game, but it came down to the wire to that onside kick. They couldn't get it, and the Bills defense couldn't stop a cold or a nosebleed last week. So that's why I'm going with Josh Allen. And my second grinder or grinders, I'm gonna go with the Rams defense from last night. I'm gonna go with, I know we put it through the previous week, but I'm going with it from last night. Man, I hadn't seen the Rams play that good against the 49ers for a long time. And they did that last night, swept the 49ers for the season. So I'm gonna go with the Rams as one of my grinders, and I'm gonna go with Josh Allen from last week.
All right, absolutely. Well, and so and finally, with myself, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you my gauntlet grinders. First of all, my AFC grinder. Shout out to the entire Pittsburgh Steelers defense. 3 sacks, forced fumble, and a forced recovery. Picked off Jameis Winston twice. I know that kind of comes standard with a game, but hey, I'm still going to give it credit for it. And only 14 points allowed in a 27-14 win versus the Cleveland Browns. This is a Steelers team. Pretty much coming up on Sunday, you're going to get the Battle of Pennsylvania. The Philly doesn't overlook anybody, but I will say that Steelers defense is going to be a tall order. I think Philly has a chance to get it done, but I'm giving it to the Steelers this week. If they're going to do anything against Philadelphia, that defense definitely has to show up. But Steelers defense for AFC grinder, and my NFC grinder is going to be wide receiver Jordan Addison of the Minnesota Vikings. 8 receptions for 133, 3 tutties at 16.6 yards per catch, and a victory versus the Falcons 42-21, spoiled Kirko's homecoming and added to the continued downward spiral of the Atlanta Falcons.
Very underrated.
Jordan,
I would just like to say that all 5 of us have thrown as many touchdown passes in the last 4 weeks as Kirk Cousins.
Yeah. Dead on accurate on that one. We'll see what
y'all
happens.
remember the time where y'all used to defend that man?
Well,
y'all used to defend that man.
Well,
against
he's
me.
thrown 8 more interceptions than the whole panel combined. So I'll just say that.
Yep, so there is that. But anyway, that is our gauntlet grinders. And when we come back, we will hit you with the world-renowned, the weekly favorite as our Sports Moron of the Week segment. We got to pay some bills. Be back in 10 seconds.
Bacon said, what is going on between AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts?
Nothing. But people think there is something.
We'll see.
So, we are back, and as you saw from the intro video for the segment, this is Sports Moron of the Week, the most outlandish takes and actions from athletes, coaches, analysts, and the likes of them sports wide. This has been an interesting week. I'm going to actually lead this one off real fast, and I won't be long. And my sports moron of the week is to the state of Ohio legislation. You sorry sissified fruit baskets. One of you motherfuckers had the stones, not even stones, okay, to come up with this bullshit that you see on the screen. Really? Legislation to make it a felony to plant a flag in the center of Ohio Stadium. Mind you, not anywhere else in the state, okay? If you beat the Ohio Bobcats, it's fine. If you beat the
MAC champion Ohio Bobcats.
MAC champion Ohio Bobcats, you can plant in their field, it's fine. You can plant in the middle of the Toledo Rockets, that's fine. So just Ohio Stadium. First of all, I don't even need to say, but I'm going to say it anyway, that if you don't want the other team planting their flag in the middle of your field, in the middle of your crib, don't lose the game. And this right here just makes, and it sucks because this is the historically great Ohio State Buckeyes, right? You know, but then you've got, and I don't know whose idea it was to draw this bill up, right? Maybe it was Ohio State, maybe it wasn't. I don't know. All I know is in any light, it really, really makes them look like that soft of a school, okay? And so next year, the Longhorns come to Columbus, all right? I really hope that this law gets shut down. And I really hope the Longhorns carve them up so that Longhorns flag goes right in the middle of that up. Look, Buckeye fans, I don't got a problem with you, but your legislation, they obviously are on some bullshit. But that is my sports moron of the week. Switching it over to James JT Tatum. Who do you got for your sports moron?
I really don't know how legislation gets passed on this, but I suppose I'm going to speak about the Eagles situation since everybody's been talking about it. So after the Eagles narrowly defeated the Carolina Panthers last week, A.J. Brown was asked, what does the team need to improve on? And he said the passing game. And people kind of ran with that comment and said he's taking shots at Jalen Hurts. Not really what I heard at all with the comments. I think AJ was speaking from a place saying, hey, there's a lot of plays we're leaving out there on the field. Some of it is Jalen's just missing a read. Some of it is just not executing the right way, running the routes properly, offensive line and pass protection. Panthers blitzed a lot in that game, so there were a few sacks that Jalen took. So it's a combination of everything, but people don't really understand that. So they try to run with a narrative and say that there's beef between Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown. There is no beef between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. These guys are best friends. Jalen is the godfather of A.J.'s daughter. They've been tight like this for years. So for you guys to sit up here and say that they hate each other and there's beef and it's the McNabb and Tyrell Owens situation all over again, it's not even remotely close. But because people like stories, because the national media likes stories, because the Philly media and WIP station wants to run with a toxic narrative, this is what they do. But there's no truth to it whatsoever. And don't be surprised if Jalen and A.J. Brown go out this Sunday against Pittsburgh and both of them have a great performance. I won't be surprised in the slightest. And then all these people will be backtracking with all these takes that they've had throughout the week.
You know, sometimes with the media, they just don't want a team to have like nice things. I've watched all through the offseason
exactly right.
how Arch Manning should transfer from they just don't want nobody to have nothing. They just really do not, you know. And Philly has seemingly kind of been that punching bag throughout some years because they don't want them to have nice things or anything. It's actually an excellent city, so anyone that is saying anything about them, that says more about you. Your motherfuckers ain't been raised right and need to talk to your mom and them. The Eagles, they not worried about that. They're going to go out there, they're going to handle business. We talking about a team. You heard me and James talk about it on Picked Off, where what? It was about 2 months ago, Sirianni was on a hot seat for chirping at a fan, and now here they are staring down the number one seed in the NFC, barring a Lions slip-up. More on that in a minute. But, yeah,
with the way this week has gone in regards to the Eagles, you wouldn't even know that this team has won 9 games in a row.
Right.
Exactly.
You wouldn't even know.
Yeah, and that's the tripped out part about it. Never mind the fact that they're contending for the #1 seed. No, let's find something to blow the locker room up. But you know what? We're gonna switch over to JJ. He licking his fingers right now. He finally done eating. JJ, who you got for your sports moron of the week?
Well, first, I want to say I love how exaggerated some of your euphemisms and your responses are because Philly's a good city, but let's not act like Philly has not been a city that's been kind. They're not any squeaky clean like any other city. So when you had said that, I was just like, okay, bruh. We remember back in the 2000s and stuff before when there was some incidents and stuff that may have happened in Philadelphia between the robberies. So that maybe they've gotten better now, but they ain't always been the greatest city. And also, no shade, being there, love it. Like any metropolitan area, could clean up a little bit. I can, but that's neither here nor there. That's what I just love about you. I'm just like, he's so nice to them. They're a good city and they don't deserve this,
Well,
but
it's also this, JJ, real quick. For the very most part, is it fair to say that if you were raised right and you actually, I don't know, treat people with respect and don't step out of bounds, you actually got a shot at making it out of pretty much anywhere okay?
yeah, but I will say sometimes Philly fans haven't done that to people. And there's been incidents that people have recounted where this been provoked by them. So nobody's perfect.
I get
So
it.
there are reasons sometimes for people to have disdain towards Philadelphia. Now, to that point, what I would call out on that is I'm actually looking going back into the Ohio State and then the Alabama thing about the college football playoff because I'm laughing at this whole situation. This is a classic case of people on a committee or this team, whatever, thinking that they're going to do something nice for everybody else to get included because they feel like no matter what they do, they're going to be there. And now that they are not there, it's just screaming like, "Oh my gosh, you hurt me! Like this is so bad." Same with Ohio State because at the end of the day, I'm just like a felony. You want a felony? I'm like, I really do want to know. It's like, I just feel bad because if I was somebody voting on this as on on like the Senate, I probably could not help myself but laugh. I'm sorry, I really could not help myself but laugh because I would sit there and I would look and I would be like,
Planting
I
a
mean,
flag, armed
but
robbery, same thing,
I'm
right?
sitting there, I'm sitting there, I was like, I would sit there, I'm like, so let me get this straight, you guys. You want this young man who is 18 years old, who may have got excited and planted the flag, to go spend time in jail with people that may kill
Prison.
people his age or
yeah,
so, all because he planted a flag? And I'm just like, you know what? I think we need to take you off of this, committee and everything and put you in a little holding cell to sit there and think about your actions because you guys, but then it lets me get scared a little bit because it's like, this is the mindset some of the people that are making decisions in these particular states and it's actually going through. It's just like, okay, so what else do you think about, because this is just it's just, but I'm here for them, I'm here to help them and learn. And I would sit there and be like, sir, all you have to do is just get your lick back next year. That's it. That's all you have to do. I'm a Ravens fan. I got my lick back on Tennessee. You can get your lick back. That's it. It's so funny.
I mean, in the grand scheme of things, you want to ruin a young man's future because
You're
you're
upset.
because your labia's torn that you lost a football game when had you have won it you could have avoided the flag planting in the first place, but that's
I
neither
don't
here.
understand how
But you
something like
still
this
made
is
the
passed.
playoffs, even if you didn't.
Yeah, yeah, but Dom, who you got for your sports moron, man?
Um, Whoever was in charge of, I'm assuming it's the athletic director at the University of North Carolina, Bill Belichick. Really? Does his 20-something-year-old girlfriend, does she go to UNC? Is that why they hired him? So he could just leave football practice and, walk on over to the dorm? This man is 70, how many years old? 73 years old. They gave him a 5-year contract. I've got money that says he's gone after next year. It is so painfully obvious that this man has spent the last year trying to rehab his image because after he quit in New England, guess how many job offers he got? So he went in the booth for a year. He told some stories. He smiled. He faked a laugh, and now he's taking it one step further. Has he ever coached in college? I think he was he was maybe like a graduate assistant in 1975. 1975. Like
You know
the
what?
NFL has passed this man by. What
You
could
know
he?
what? Did Nick Saban not coach in the NFL and flop and went
We're
back to college?
Yes, he did, but Nick Saban was
Okay.
no good in the NFL.
we're
That's
going to
why he
get
went
into.
back to college.
So why can't a guy that
I
has accomplished what Bill has in the NFL not coach at a
He
college
doesn't
level?
want to deal with 18-year-old kids.
I can't wait to get into this because this is actually a
Yeah,
topic
this
I'm
is
very interested in. I can't wait to get into
yeah,
this.
Dom. If you can save like the rest of your commentary,
Oh
'cause
yeah,
that's
shit!
actually
I
our
forgot it was
topic.
a topic. I had something
Yeah.
else, and then I just got to
No,
yeah.
no, 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 no. You good, you good, you good. Just save it for the topic. We're gonna be there in just a minute.
For
Kendall, who
sure.
you got, man? Sports moron of the week.
Yeah, real quick before I get into my sports moron. Don, you know I'm a Patriots fan, and I love what you do
Hey,
for the network and all that. But I'm a Patriots fan number one, and I live in UNC. I'm not a Tar Heel fan, but I am now because my coach Belichick is down here, and you can't come for coach like that, man. You can't do that. You can't come for coach. He wasn't a
right.
graduate assistant. He never coached in college. But like James just said about the same thing about Saban, that's where I was gonna go. But we're gonna get into it shortly. But no, it's gonna work out for Bill down here at UNC. I'm gonna save
I
my
think so too.
I'm gonna save my rant for when we get to it.
Okay.
But my
Okay.
moron of the week, I'm gonna go with Debo Samuel.
That was gonna be mine. But go
Yeah,
ahead.
has some. I want to go with Aaron Rodgers, but I'm gonna go Debo Samuel. Yeah, I'm gonna go Debo Samuel, man. You put out some tweets, one or two this week, talking about not getting the ball and you're not struggling and all that. But then last night you got multiple opportunities. They try to like overfeed you the ball last night, and I don't know the total stat line right now, but it wasn't much. And even if it was, I mean, it didn't. Yeah,
Four
with 4 catches,
catches,
huh?
3 or 4 catches.
Yeah, and then for really nothing, really to be honest with you,
Right.
had
How
a
many
couple
drops though?
carries, had some carries. I mean, he's not the same guy no more. The injuries have caught up to him. I think he's 28, 29, might be 30.
Not even close.
Yeah, he's probably like 28, 29 right now. And he's never really been your traditional, like, route you up wide receiver, nothing like that. He's more like a gadget and whatnot. But, bro, you can't talk all that, ask for the ball, and then you dropping it. You can't get there. And I'm watching the game. I watched the all 22. I really do this. And he's not getting no separation. He's not doing anything. I'm that's ridiculous. And that's the second time. Who was the other guy that clamored for the ball but couldn't? Wasn't really doing anything. I think he dropped it or something like that. It'll come to me a little bit, but mainly at Debo Samuel, man. That's come on, bro. Like that was ridiculous. That performance last night was bad, and I think if he catches that pass, that slant, he probably scores and get damn near close. I really think so. I really think that with his ability after the catch, probably not now because he's kind of lost a step. But
Yeah.
come on, bro, you get clamoring for the ball. Then when you
Well,
You're
get it,
not a number one wideout. Quit bitching about targets.
there was another post that someone did where it was like their mom texted them to ask them did they do the dishes, and someone replied. They sent a picture of Debo and said, and the mom was like, "What does that mean?" And it
I
said,
see
it means you washed. They
it.
washed.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're gonna, here's the deal: if you're gonna have like the To mindset, give me the damn ball. Keyshawn Johnson, you got to come through and do what you do. You can't have more drops than you had receptions last night. You just can't, or in any game. So regardless of what the conditions are outside and whatnot, understand last night it was a little slippery out there, but still, all everyone's going to look at is the fact that you
Yeah.
demanded the football, and then when it come time, and here's the thing: are you going for the year? So you would think he should be cashing in.
Well, you can't perform like that after putting out a message saying, I'm not struggling, I'm just not getting the ball. And when the ball comes your way, you're just not making anything of those opportunities, which Debo clearly isn't. So,
No,
To the
well,
behest
absolutely.
of
come
my
down to
fantasy
the
team. Thanks, Debo, you worthless fuck.
So,
Well,
whoever
with that,
depended on Debo in the fantasy playoffs, I feel sorry for you.
yeah,
No one that
absolutely.
hadn't made it. Shit.
Well, with that being said, we're gonna go on and when we return,
Um,
we can move on to our.
um,
Oh,
not yet, not yet.
oh,
Because I feel like in the midst of the Debo, the other thing with the Red Cowboys, which was brought up here by Wyatt, and what we saw from Devondre Campbell last week or last
oh
night, I should
yes.
say. And I got the clip right here for you guys. You see him walking off the field while the game was still going on. He was upset that he didn't get any playing time or he was removed from the starting lineup. And, doing stuff like this is just soft. It's just not acceptable when you have guys on the team. Like they have that wide receiver that was shot earlier in the season. He's come back. Javarius Ward, he just lost his 1-year-old daughter. And Trent Williams also dealing with a similar situation, and these guys are battling some serious problems, and you're quitting on the team basically because you didn't get your playing time, and it's just embarrassing. And there's no room for something like this, and just a really weak move by Devondre Campbell.
No, absolutely. I'll be short on this one.
So I
And
want to
and I
ask
don't
you
know
guys
who
real
all.
quick. I want to ask you guys real quick on this because what's worse, him doing that or Anthony Richardson?
Definitely him
Because
doing that.
Definitely him doing that.
Definitely Campbell.
so
Definitely
now
him doing
I
that.
will say, and I'm not saying this as like a a call out, but when we were talking about Anthony Richardson, you guys did say that what he did was the worst thing you could possibly do as a player. So it's it's just we know that there are different things
Devondre
because
Campbell
you're
said,
right.
"Hold my beer."
You're right. It's not so Anthony Richardson maybe should get a little bit more grace because he didn't abandon his job. He just said he was tired and he needed a break, which was kind of like a point that was made back then. You see what I'm
I'll
saying?
I'll
You see
give
what I'm
him some
saying?
grace when he gets his
Well,
completion
I would
percentage
say the
over
difference
50.
is the 49ers needed Campbell last night because they didn't have nobody else linebacker. The Colts didn't necessarily need Richardson because they had a backup quarterback, and then Richardson was coming back. He was just saying he was tired or whatnot. So I'm saying like they need him, but it's like okay, if something worst case, we got a backup quarterback. Greenlaw had got hurt last night or whatnot, so they didn't have nobody else. That's why the guy I can't think of the running back for the Rams. Williams. He kept getting those conversions. Like they didn't have nobody. Greenlaw was out. Warner was dealing with something.
Right.
They had
And
nobody. They had nobody else there. Richardson, he could have just took it. I mean, he wasn't walking off the field and all like that. He wasn't going to the back of the locker room. And they had a backup quarterback to come in for a couple of plays. And if you actually seen the play where Williams, I'm not with Richardson and whatnot, it was kind of like I mean, I'm not giving him a pass or whatnot, but like you can kind of understand or whatnot. But yeah, I get what you're
I'll
saying.
be to be
But
honest with you,
I mean,
I'm not because I didn't see any player say what George Kittle said in his press conference after what Anthony Richardson said. So when we had said that players wouldn't respect that, I think they just proved they do. They don't have as much of an issue as fans did about Anthony Richardson because Anthony Richardson said, "Hey, I just need a quick break." DeAndre Campbell said, I don't want to help you guys win because of what happened. I'm that. So there is a reason. That's really the biggest thing I realized about Anthony Richardson's situation. I was like, he didn't abandon his team. He just said he needed a break. And you know what? We may think that he can be in game shape all the time, but they've all talked about it before. And it's like, yeah, you need a break. It's okay. I ain't tripping off that. So I think it's interesting that it did come full circle. You
I
know,
think that. Yeah,
what
I mean, I hear what you're saying, but I think it's fair to say that it's levels to it. You know what I mean? What Colts fans saw was Anthony Richardson needed a break during a crucial situation where they were in a red zone against the Houston Texans and down what 3 points or down a touchdown, something like that. But Colts fans
was
also
Campbell's
saw
not crucial
Richardson.
situation?
Well, hang on, I'll get there.
Kendall
Hold
just
on, I'll
said
get
they were
there.
in the playoff. Kendall just said they were in a Drinkler hurt. They're in a tight game and they're in the playoff race potential too. So is that situation not as similar to that? Because I think I can argue
I'm
it
gonna tell you,
is.
I'm gonna tell you the difference. I'm gonna tell you the difference. Colts fans saw Anthony Richardson at least come back into the game and finish the game. Campbell walked off the field,
What's
never to be
worse?
seen again.
He walked off
Before
and
the
he
game was
abandoned his
over.
post. Like what's
Before the
worse?
game, before the game is
You're
over.
making you kind of are making the point because it's like he asked for a break. The other one literally deliberately walked off, and his people saw that where he's like, you know what? I bump y'all. I'm whatever. It's making it make me believe more that that's way worse than anything Anthony Richardson did
It
because he
is.
chose to not want to come back in the game, or chose
Okay.
not even to enter the game. Where Anthony Richardson was like, "Hey, I want to come back in the game, and if I want to be at my best for you guys, because that's what you guys are counting on with me, I have to own up to the fact that I'm not there yet. Give me a few moments, and I'll be back." I can respect that 1000% over anything of that, where it's like, hey, next time, man, you got to tough it out, because I can forgive that, which is why I always laughed and I looked at back was like, y'all are only saying that to him, but when you think about it, it's not as crazy as you're making it seem. I bet you if I asked George Kittle the situation, who do you respect more, who do you don't, he would never sit there and say, well, you know what, you want to be in game shape, but you never want to, it's okay, just get back in the game. I promise you that. I think fans more look at things way seriously on that with Anthony Richardson than the players ever did. And that was something I was, bringing up at that time as well.
No. I get what you're saying, and I say this with the halfway point. We got to move, but I'll say this much: I think it's fair to say that it's okay to say, "Hey, for that time period, we can call it out for what it is." But there is a such thing as doing something worse than what Anthony Richardson did, because again, and
But that's
Anthony
not what was
Richardson getting
said
out of the
at that time.
game, Anthony Richardson coming out of the game because he needed a break. Okay, cool, but still, he finished the game. This Joker wasn't even injured. He
But the
left the
thing
field
is, you guys
completely.
said at that time, that's the thing. You can't have it both ways. You can't. That's why I said, that's what goes back to another example and say, fans have to admit that they go with whatever opinion. Because back at when Anthony Richardson said, Chase Daniel and people were jumping on his thing, said that's the worst thing he ever seen. So you gave the same declarative there that you're now giving it to this one. So which one is it? Because if you accept one, you have to accept the other. And if you choose that DeAndre Campbell's one is the one that was more excessive and more egregious and more disrespectful, then you got to say, you know what? I was too hard on you, Anthony Richardson, because of that. I said that was the worst thing in the world. I didn't step back and realize that, you know what? I may not have liked it,
Two
but there are
wrongs
other
don't make a
things that
right.
could have been worse. That's
Two
all.
Yeah.
wrongs,
So that
two
you
wrongs
have
don't
to
make a
admit
right.
that. You have to admit that people. Another example, fans.
Two
Not saying
wrongs
it's a
don't make a
bad thing,
right.
but that's just what it is.
Two wrongs don't make a
Okay,
right.
Moving
J-
along.
yeah, JJ, honest question: would you say that either act is excusable?
I have no issue with Anthony Richardson's thing, to be very honest with you.
Okay.
I would still, and actually, in terms of DeAndre Campbell, I don't like it, but I would sit there and, as opposed to just banishing him to the wolves, because that's nothing I'm doing, I would sit there and pour into him, because that's what I want to do about people. I'm like, listen, man, I get it. I know that you feel this way because you're human, and then try to show into him. But I would say between the two, Campbell's is more inexcusable. I ain't really got too much issue with Anthony Richardson's. Never had.
Okay.
Honestly, never did. And so,
Okay.
because I want you to be at your best for me. I don't want you being tired and then you're lazy on the play and then somebody clocks you and then you're hurt. If you tired, man, I'll be that coach for you that stand and take that publicity and take that criticism, because you honest. You honest with me. You said, you know what? I respect that, because you're going to get there. You're going to get to that point of being game shape. But if you're not there, it's cool. It's cool. I got you. We'll be all right.
Well, with that being said, we do have to move to our main topic. So we'll be back in a couple of seconds, and we will. Oh, we're back now. If you
Wow.
blinked, you missed it. We back. All right. So and Dom can continue with his commentary, because Bill Belichick
Right.
has been named head coach
I,
of the North Carolina Tar Heels. They've already
I want to
given
hear
him his
this.
signature hoodie. They've already started calling it Chapel Bill. Now I know we're gonna get all kinds of thoughts and commentary from across the panel. The number one thing that I saw is Bill Belichick is coming into a conference with the Miamis and the Florida States and the upstart SMU in that conference, who just played in the ACC championship game, ACC
Clemson.
champion Clemson. How good of a job do you all think that he's going to be? Just give your overall thoughts. We'll start with JT and go around the panel. Your thoughts on Belichick signing to the Tar Heels?
I actually want to pass. I want to give it to Kendall, since he lives in North Carolina, covers
Okay.
the team, and I want to see his perspective on this whole thing.
You know what? All right, Kendall, you're the resident down there. Give us your thoughts. And that was your coach too, bro.
Yeah, real quick, long story short, I do. I miss Bill as the coach of of the Patriots. I really do. But I think he's going to be really good in Carolina, man. It can't be no worse than what it's been. And like he said in his comments, he does have an out in his contract, so he can stay for a year and then he can go back to the NFL or whatnot. And they just buy him out and whatnot. And his son's going to take over after him or whatnot. But I think Belichick's going to build a nice staff down here. He got Michael Lombardi. They work together with the Patriots, and Michael Lombardi come from the Browns. They know how to build
Love
a
Michael
team.
Lombardi.
Huh?
I said I love Michael Lombardi.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be nice. They already in the portal. They recruiting people. I'm gonna definitely get to some games this year. I think it's gonna be pretty good down there. I think Belichick wanted a challenge, like he said in the press conference. The college came to him. He didn't come to college. College came to him. And I believe that. Now, some would say that maybe nobody in the NFL wanted him. Me personally, I wanted him to go to Dallas just so I could have my popcorn and Coke ready, and I could just want to watch that. Cause I know that would be nice. But with him going to I think he's going to change, and we're going to start seeing a lot of coaches. I think he's going to start some. We can start seeing some coaches that come from the NFL to college and try to do what Belichick is doing. He's 72 years old, yeah, but I mean, you're just coaching. I mean, he's not. It ain't like he's out there physically playing. We seen Paterno used to coach for Penn State. He was, I mean, RP to him. He was coaching too. I mean, he's down there in the wheelchair, and whatnot. So I mean, you can coach forever. He loves coaching. I mean, he's not a media guy. We know that he's not for the media. Ryan Clark and for Ryan Clark, Ryan Clark. I watched ESPN this morning. Ryan Clark and Bart Scott. They hated the Patriots, hated Bill Belichick. And for them to come out and have positive reviews on it, whatnot, that won me over. Because Ryan Clark could not stand the Patriots or Bill Belichick. Bart Scott, y'all know. I mean, he did not like it. For them to have positive reviews or whatnot, that won me over because I was kind of like I was kind of on the edge with it. But then when I heard other people's, I was like, okay, if these guys are saying it, I'm all in. I mean, I think you see a lot of negative stuff about it, but that's what he wanted to do. And I mean, I think it's gonna work. I got a good feeling about it, man. I think it's gonna work out. When that's what he want to do, he's gonna build a nice staff down there. I think it's gonna work out pretty good for him. I really do.
I think with Bill Belichick, I think North Carolina feels they're on the doorstep of an ACC championship, and they may have even had their sights on Bill Belichick right at about Mac Brown's departure. But we're gonna take it to Dom and finish your commentary up on why you think this was a bad idea.
Wow, where do I start? I'll actually keep it brief. Um, Not only does he have an out after 1 year, he actually has an out in June. He could leave in June if he wants to. He could literally come in, and where have we seen that before? Remember when he took the Jets coaching job and then resigned, what, 2 days later? I don't think it's going to be that bad because he still has some image and personality rehabilitation to do. He took this job because he wanted to go coach somewhere. And like, yeah, Kendall said, he didn't come to the NCAA. The NCAA came to him. But it's not like coaches go out here and cold call and call up universities' athletic directors like, hey, can I come coach for you? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's Bill Belichick did make that call to UNC's athletic director. They'd be like, fuck yeah, you can. But I don't know. I mean, outside of the blood oath, which saw him be incredibly successful in New England. I don't see how it works. Like, will those kids respect him? Probably. Will he relate to them? Probably not. uh you know College football is yes, it's become more like pro football now because of NIL, but that shit's a grind. Do you really think Bill Belichick is going to go and recruit? They start recruiting when kids are like 14, 15 years old. Would you want Bill Belichick showing up at your door to talk to your 14-year-old
Yes.
old kid? I
Bill
fucking
doesn't.
wouldn't.
That's why he's building a
Yes.
team. He's not going to have to go to these people's
Yes.
houses. He got recruit. He got people that's going to do. That's why he bringing in Michael Lombardi, the general manager. They're going to hire
Even
a whole.
even if it
Um,
was him, Kendall, yes, it's Bill Belichick.
yeah, of
Yes.
course they're going to
I,
like.
w- I
Yes.
wish I had a 14-year-old son of Bill Belichick would show up on my doorstep and be like, get the fuck off my porch, old man.
But, but But in all fairness, Dom, I mean, okay, think about one of the reasons why people wanted to go and play under Nick Saban at Alabama, right? Not only do they have a great chance at the time period winning the SEC championship, not only do they have a great chance at winning the national championship, there's that NFL connection because Alabama was putting more people in the pros than we'd ever seen, right? So
True.
they're going there and they're like, man, I got a great shot at going to the pros. Hell, going in the first round if I play for Nick Saban. Now, Do you think that the kids are going to see the same thing? Okay, this is a man that won 6 Super Bowls. This is a man that
That
coached in the NFL for 30-something years. I go and play for him. He still got his NFL connects. I can end up in the pros. I can go first or second round. Like, Bill could get him up to that. I mean, let's look at the positives here.
I could
James, if
agree
it's
with.
okay.
And I mean, let's be honest, it's very hard for me to be objective about Bill Belichick or anything that he does or doesn't do because I hate that man with every fiber of my being, with the fire of 1,000 suns. I hate that smug fuck. So somebody else go before my blood pressure goes up more than
JJ,
it
it's
already
on you, man. Who
has.
you got? What do you got?
So it's Dom. Dom made a comment that is very interesting because it's coming from Dom when he was like, the old school approach was going to really resonate with these new kids when his basketball coach was criticized for having an old school approach with his new kids, and now they're responding. So it's kind of proof that maybe we need to give these kids a little bit of credit because number one, when you had also said, Kendall said they came after him, Bill is chilling. But Bill, I think you think of a esteemed college professor, been doing it for 30 years and has had every accolade possible. Everything is great. For his way out to retirement, he goes and now coaches, teaches kindergartners or so. You see where I'm going with this? I think this is a big opportunity. He's like, you know what? I love football because he's a football guy. This is exciting for me to learn. Let me see if I can relate to these kids. And I think these guys are going to respond well because, again, we're talking about the school that he's at in North Carolina. North Carolina is a very disciplined school. If they're a very disciplined school in terms of structure, how to do academics. You're very
Yep.
important with that. So when you have those type of kids there, a guy that comes in who's all about structure is going to be a perfect fit. Because in my opinion, I think what is going to happen with them is we're about to see them become a really good team when it comes to running the football. They're going to have strong offensive and defensive lines, and they're going to get better because I know for a fact I would happily, if you and I had our 14-year-old kids and you say F Bill Belichick, I'd be like, sir, can I get you a piece of pizza or something, whatever's your favorite thing, because I don't agree with that, but I'm glad he said that. That means you're going to choose my kid to come under you, and I'll take that. That's what I mean, because at the end of the day,
Why UNC
because we
though?
have to, one thing we have to remember is when you listen to him talk about football, his players have never came out and said that he was snarky, mean, or anything. The only thing Bill Belichick did was just keep it out the media. That's it. That really is the only thing that
And he's not like a buddy guy. I mean, he might walk
he's
by you
not
in
a
the locker.
mean person at all
Yeah,
to the media at all. He's never been somebody that's been mean. He just never gives you what you want because he's not supposed to. He's focused on doing what he has to do for his peoples. And at the end of the day, every player has never said anything. They have all respected and played for him. You don't land those free agents that you get if you don't have a coach that people respect. What happens is you think he ain't been sitting here watching all football for the last 5 or 6 years, and if he actually, now that he has this job, you don't think he's looking at the college landscape, going back and seeing how teams are built and how he can apply what he wants? I think this is a great move. When I heard it, I was like, you know what? This is fun for you. You're feeling young again now. You're feeling awesome
Yeah,
again. Because at the end
banging a
of the
broad
day,
50 years younger than you will do that, I guess.
that is his relationship. But
hey
again, that doesn't
Don,
matter to on the field. The whole point of on the field is, yes, these players are going to look up to him. Yes, these players are going to respond to him. Yes, these players are going to start to develop pretty well on him. And yes, he will and bring the scouts in the NFL over there. So he has a recruiting pitch behind him. He does. And
hey,
so I love the move. And I sat there and I'm like, okay, 4 years, I want to see where North Carolina is. Because I would not be surprised if they're possibly going undefeated and getting into a college football playoff
I
with
agree.
him.
He won't
Yeah,
be there that long.
no, absolutely.
I agree. Hey
And
Don, I know you hate Belichick or you hate the Patriots or whatever, but and don't take this the wrong way, but I'm sure you would trade in the Detroit Lions' success for what Belichick and the Patriots have done.
Oh,
I'm sure you would.
10,000% I
I'm
would.
sure
That's
you
why he
would.
has so much issue
Huh?
with him.
I'm not a fan of dynasties.
But you want to be one.
Let's just get to a Super Bowl before we talk
Okay,
about
okay.
winning one
I
or winning
thought I
multiple
had you.
ones. Let's just get there.
everybody hates it until it's them.
They got a
JT,
chance this year.
AT, what you got, man? Your thoughts on Bill Belichick's hire?
I agree with a lot of what you guys said. I think this is a great opportunity for UNC to have a guy like Belichick because prior to getting him, hasn't really been a high landing spot for football. For basketball, absolutely,
Yeah, it's a
because
basketball
they have
school.
that pedigree in basketball. But now they have a chance to build it in football because guys are gonna want to go play there and play for Bill because of who he is and what he's accomplished as a coach. So it's very good for UNC, and Bill Belichick being criticized for taking a job is just a little weird for me because what more does he have to prove in the NFL? He doesn't really have anything more to prove. He's accomplished everything that a coach can do at this point. So, what does going to the Dallas Cowboys and working with a dysfunctional team and Jerry Jones and all that, what purpose does that serve him at this point in his career? Doesn't really serve any purpose. If the right job comes for him and he wants to go back, then he can pursue it. But I don't think now is that time. And the NFL has kind of went in
But
its
you
own.
got y'all gotta admit it would have been fun seeing him and Jerry Jones together
I
though.
don't think it would have ever.
I don't want to
I
see
don't think
two
it ever
Senior
would have taken place
Citizens.
because I don't think Bill
He
has
wouldn't do
the
it.
bandwidth to put up with the antics of Jerry.
Yeah, I get that, but it would have been interesting to see though. I mean, I know it
Oh,
probably wouldn't
sure.
happen, but
Well, of course it would. Yeah, it would be
So it's a
entertaining. But
multi-car pileup. You can't turn away.
knowing Jerry the way we know him and knowing Bill the way that we know him, we know what the result would be, as it was with Bill Parcells, as it was with Jimmy Johnson, and those kind of coaches don't really mesh with Jerry because he wants to control everything. But back to North Carolina and Bill, I think it's good for Bill. It's a unique experience for him to build something at a college level. And then it's great for UNC. As I said, they're going to be able to get kids to go there that they otherwise weren't really able to recruit in football. So there's a lot of football schools that they're competing against down there, especially in the southeast. So it's going to be really interesting to watch. So I might actually have to tune into some college games, which I don't normally watch a whole lot of.
It's
Yeah,
gonna be
I
weird.
would.
It's gonna be weird at the press conference for him to be like, "Oh, all right, we're on to Wake Forest."
Yeah. Now I'm gonna ask this one question. Quick answer around the panel before we go to non-sports topic. I just thought about it because
Oh, real
you
quick.
guys
Oh,
brought
sorry.
up the criticism that he's taken for taking this job, and so I'll ask you, and I'll start with you, JJ. Okay, because it's North Carolina, right? It's a basketball school.
Hmm.
But had he assigned to a Miami, Florida State, Notre Dame, USC, would he have received as much criticism? Starting with you, JJ.
Yeah, because I think at the end of the day, for them, it's just I think the criticism is just strictly because people have similar opinions to Dom, where it's less X's and O's and logical and more just emotional. And I'm not saying it in a bad way, but it is just what it is because there's who, what, why, what is that? How does that sound? You're upset at him for taking a football position that's open because it's a basketball school or whatever reason. And I ask myself, why does it matter? Like, what is it now? Is it because you want him to coach your squad? Okay, if you don't want him to coach your squad, then what other reason is it?
No, stay the
Oh,
fuck out of
you
Lansing, Bill
don't
Belichick.
like, you don't like him. And at the end of the day, I will tell you something. The one thing I know that I've watched with him is that his opinion of Ed Reed from the time he got into the league to now lets me know that he'll be able to be okay with these guys because he loves football players who are about that. So if you show that you're about that, he'll rave about you from the time he sees you when you're young at like 19, 20 to the time you see now. So you go to this squad and you get like someone, if Drake May was there, you would sit there and be like, yes, I got it. At the end of the day, I think he's sitting there I think he's gonna love it. I will say, if you don't think he can recruit or he's gonna bring players, you might see that bite you in the butt when you start to see that players you think are all locked in for you or maybe are now coming over to him. And I don't really think the Neil thing is even going to be too much of a big deal because I don't think Bill cares about that stuff. I think Bill cares about finding the right people to put around him to be able to be his coaches and building the best team, no matter what's around you. Because again, they have won Super Bowls by having a wide receiver named Troy Brown play corner sometimes. They find anybody. He's found anybody he needs to win in the NFL. Don't think he can't find anything he needs to win in the college level. So Neil or not, I think he's so excited he's going to do fine.
All right, and what about you, Kendall? Do you
I
think that
think,
the
yeah,
criticism would have been less had he signed to a more football school?
I think it would have been the same because I don't even think it's about the school. He could have went to TCU, Alabama, anywhere. I think it's the fact that he's in college football and he's not in the NFL. That's why I think it's more. That's why like they think like it's beneath him to go to a college or something like that. I don't think it don't matter about the school. He could have took Alabama job or whatever. It's just the fact that they don't want him in the NFL, so now he has to go to college. And I think they probably look at it like he's desperate or something like that. I think that's more so what it is. It ain't got nothing to do with the school. It's just where it's college. That's all it is.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah, I can see that angle because he's theoretically would be moving down. But the
Yeah.
crazy part about it is if he wins a national championship, he'd only be the fourth coach in history to have a national championship in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
So, but I'm speaking to Dom, man. Your thoughts about that?
Um, I think the criticism might have been a little less had he went to a more traditional football school. And despite what Kendall says, he took a job in college because there wasn't an NFL job for him, and he's trying to rehab his image. And I promise you, he'll be gone in 2 years. Th-
And
th-
and
Weren't
unless he
Atlanta
finds out
wasn't the
he
Atlanta
really likes
Falcons?
it and he raises that program to new heights. But even then, I mean, I kind of thought he was done. Period. After that, those 2 years
I don't
went by
really
without him
think
having a job. He's an old man.
I don't really think you can, without reasonable doubt, say that there's not a job for him when the hiring cycle in the NFL hasn't even started yet.
Bingo.
Then why did he jump? Why did he jump on this UNC job so quick?
But why does he have to jump to a job that you think he should want as opposed to what he actually really does want? Maybe he doesn't want to go back there because he's enjoyed it. He's done what he done. He got the most Super Bowls of any coach. So what else you gonna do?
Because
Like
he's
at the end
that
of the day,
dude that worked 80 hours a week for his whole life and he's retired and now he's bored and he wants to go back.
that's
I'll tell you
your
what.
opinion.
I'll be the first one to admit that I was wrong, and y'all can all call me out until the cows come home if he's still at UNC in 2 years.
Well, there's no need to call you out because at the end of the
No,
day, we know it's based off of how you
it's not really.
personally feel about the person. Because the X's and O's, the ones and twos, all can be stemmed back to your personal feeling about him. Oh, he's bored. Why do you think he's bored? Oh, I just don't like him, dude. Like
Yeah.
it's okay when you don't like somebody. You're pointed. You're pointed.
and lastly, JT, what do you think before we move on?
My bad, James.
Oh, I think Kendall's right. I think that people like Dom are, running with that narrative that he can't make it in the NFL anymore and nobody wants to hire him. I can probably name a couple teams that would benefit from having a guy like Bill Belichick on their team. Look at the Chicago Bears. Look at how this franchise is pretty much in a lot of disarray as well. Do you not think the Chicago Bears, the young quarterback like Caleb Williams, would benefit from having a coach with that kind of leadership, that kind of structure, and no nonsense kind of guy? I think they would, but Bill has earned the right to pursue what he wants to do, and if he wants to go in UNC and make a name for himself there and put that program on the map, then he's earned the right to do it. And I certainly don't think that has anything to do with him not being able to make it in the NFL, quote unquote.
Gotcha. All right. Well,
It's no different from like I'm in the military. James, Jay, in the military, people step down from high-ranking positions to other positions all the time. It happens all the time.
yeah. Well, we do have to wrap this up. We have about 7 minutes up to our non-sports topic, and our non-sports topic of the evening. So I had a thought earlier about some of the old games we came up with, but I was like, but you know what? It's been a long time since we've gotten a really great reboot. We've seen reboots with Mortal Kombat. We've seen reboots with a lot of successful reboots with Mortal Kombat. JJ will tell you he's a huge fan. But out of the OG series like NBA Jam, NFL Blitz, or Max Payne, which video game franchise would you like to see get a proper reboot? And JJ, we'll start with you.
I would go NBA Live because I would love to see
Ah,
NBA Live back because I love seeing I like NBA Jam and I like the accentuate when it comes to a dunk or a three or whatever. But NBA Live has been my favorite game. I like 2K, but I want NBA Live back. I want you know I love just think of when I'm like 2002 when you see the Eastern and Western Conference All Stars. You see Chris Webber, Mitch Richmond on one side, and then you see Kobe Bryant and Eddie Jones and everybody on the other side. Like I want to bring back those games, and I would love for PS2 to get a reboot so we could bring it back with that because that's my love.
All right, Kendall, what do you got, man?
He took what I was gonna say, but I'm gonna go with NFL Blitz. I mean, I play Madden a lot. I love Madden. I'm probably about to get on after the show tonight. But Blitz, I say NFL Blitz, but I wouldn't mind bringing giving a reboot of NFL Blitz, man. Then with a
That
day.
was fun.
Okay, then yeah, because we of course Madden has been a staple and everything, but NFL Blitz was like that wild and crazy kind of step back, ridiculous football game that everyone came to know and enjoy. Dom, what about you, man?
I would have said NBA Jam. I would go NBA Live, but yeah, NBA Jam. I actually, literally, like last night or the night before, I watched like a 30 minute, not like documentary, but like a retrospective on NBA Jam. All the stuff about like the creators and all the hoops they had to jump through and how they were going to make it 3-on-3 at first, and then that didn't work. But yeah, NBA Jam for sure. And it's post cursor NBA Hang Time for the N64 and PS1, I believe.
Yes, the NBA
I
Hang
was
Time actually was one of the best games of that series that no one talks about. I loved NBA Hang Time, but and then James, what do you got?
I'm going to take it in a different direction here, and I would like to say, what if they could take Tecmo Bowl and
Woo!
kind of modernize it in a little bit
Hmm.
with some of today's mechanic, but still keep it the same simple mechanic of that game, which was what made it really fun, but bring that experience to the younger generation, that never got to really play those games as a kid. I just think that would be really cool.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Bacon actually hit it in the comments. I would love to see an NFL Street reboot as far as sports games. I still have the original three on the OG PlayStation 2, greatest console of all time, by the way. Um,
far and away.
But in
but
in other games, I would love to see Tomb Raider rebooted. I really would.
not a bad choice. Not a bad choice at all. Tomb Raider, and this is why this topic is pretty much any genre. But as far as action games go, I wouldn't mind Max Payne because I like the first two. Thoroughly enjoyed the double disc third one as well. The third one actually was pretty raw, but I would love to see a reboot of that one as well. Uh, any other ones I can really think about? You get the
And I'm fairly certain, since you guys brought up Tecmo Bowl, another thing that I've watched many like documentary type things on lately, and how they came up with like the ratings and shit, and how Bo Jackson, for some reason, max speed was 75. He was the only player on the whole game that had a 75. Barry Sanders was 69. But I'm pretty sure with the emulators now, you can play Tecmo Bowl with current rosters.
you
Like
can.
it's the old 8-bit Tecmo Bowl, but
Yeah.
it's that would
Yeah,
be
you
dope.
can. Yeah, actually, if you go to Tecmo.org or TecmoSuperBowl.org, they actually have updates every single year. Like right now, there's Tecmo Super Bowl 25. They also have NCAA in the Tecmo Bowl format. They have
Oh,
NCAA 20, 24, 25. 24 might be the latest version. And when you go and select the teams, you know how like on the old Tecmo Super Bowl, they did it by divisions in the NFL. Well,
yep.
in the college when they do it by conference. So like the last copy I had, they had the Pac-12, the SEC, they had the
Oh
ACC, and like
yeah.
all of them, and they had the rosters and stuff. And I think they included the 12-team playoffs in the latest version. But no, most definitely. And especially with college football 25 coming back to the next gen systems and everything, NCAA NCAA Tecmo Bowl 25, but I really thoroughly enjoyed NFL Street. I remember it came out. I couldn't wait to get that game. But you know what? If we're talking about rebooting, I mean, if we're going to go with the EA Big Series, NBA Street Series, why not? With the current players and everything. And update on the, you know, the locations, the venues, hidden players and whatnot. I remember NBA Street Volume 2, the best one, and the freaking Saint Lunatics were on there. And they weren't bad at all. You know? So yeah, I definitely would I would say those would be my top three would be in NFL Street, NBA Street, and Max Payne. But that's actually all we got, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for tuning in. We are at the 1 hour mark. Shout out to Ken. Thanks for coming on the show. Shout out to Bacon Grizz in the comments, Wyatt, Cowboy X Factor. And for everybody, we will see you all next week on the Gauntlet. We'll see you next Wednesday on Picked Off. Peace!
Yeah.
Good night, Sacramento, California.